Good evening. I'd like to call the Village Board of Vernon to order. Today is September 17, 2020. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Roll call and open meeting law compliance check.
President Carl Fortner.
Present.
Trustee Jim Solani.
Present.
Trustee Gary Weldy.
Present.
Trustee Fred Mahalik.
Present.
Trustee Lorene Dashik. Mr. President, note for record, you do have a quorum of your village board. Also note for the record, the agenda was posted inside and outside the Vernon Town Hall, to the media, to the Village of Vernon's website. You're in full compliance with the open meetings law.
Thank you. We're on agenda item 4, and I'll read the notice for possible closed session. Motion to go into closed session. Consideration and possible action on a motion to convene into the executive session under Wisconsin State Statutes 19.851E. Deliberating of negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. More specifically, shared services with the villages of Big Bend and Waukesha and the town of Mukwonago, and cooperative plans with the village of Mukwonago and town of Waterford, and Wisconsin 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved, more specifically, Scenic Ridge of Big Bend Homeowners Association. Included in closed session will be the village board, village attorney, and village clerk treasurer, and the village attorney may participate by telephone. Motion requires a roll call vote. No action will be taken in closed session. Number 5, public comments. There is no public present, so we'll go right to number 6 and get started on the agenda. First up is AmeriCollect contract and EMS medical billing. I think this was on our previous agendas. I think we've been with AmeriCollect for some time, but I think we've decided to go with the county. So this contract needs to be, I think, terminated, or at least notice that.
Mr. President, the village board asks for some additional information in regards to some additional detail, and that's what's in the packet. Just so they could see how many accounts there are, the dates of the accounts.
Right, that's right. Last board meeting, we directed the clerk treasurer to find some additional information about the number of accounts they're working.
These are all, this one list, Karen, is from all the way back to 2013. Are all people who haven't, are old, they owe us money?
That is correct.
That's a pretty significant amount, $32,000.
For my edification, what is going to be the process with these, Karen? Do they go on to the county now?
Well,
or-
what would happen is, it's my understanding that life class accounts go to the county. So the question the board has to decide is, do they want to terminate, give notice to AmeriCollect and transfer those funds from AmeriCollect to Waukesha County, which when I talked to Waukesha County, they have absolutely no problem doing that. They've done that in the past.
Okay.
So what was asked by the board is the additional information, then you would direct someone to give notice to AmeriCollect that you're terminating a contract, you give the proper notification, and then in that notification, have them transfer all that data to Waukesha County, if you so choose.
Right, the alternative is to, the new accounts can all go to the county, and AmeriCollect can stay on these accounts and collect where they can. I mean, looking at the list, there's approximately 35 accounts. Pointed out here, like Trustee Wildy, there's 32,000, I think. 4, it looks like, have been paying. Of the 35, I mean, if you look at last payment amount, there's 4.
But they've had those accounts to collect for some time.
Yeah.
I don't think giving them any more time is gonna get any more collected, you know, from what I've seen in the past with them.
Right.
Right. There's 2 from 19, 5 from 18, and then 28 or so from
Right.
17, 16, 15, you know, prior years. According to their list. This is their list, right? They printed this.
That is correct, sir. There is a more detailed list, but, and I'd be happy to show, but it's got the people's names, and I didn't feel that was,
No.
I don't think you care about that. I mean, you care, but you don't care. I don't mean to sound like you're cold, but you were more interested in the accounts and the amounts and the dates.
Agreed.
Now, what's the alternative when we decide that they're not collectible?
I think the county gives some delineation, you know, to the board when they have exhausted all parameters, but they're still trying to collect on the old Big Bend Vernon Fire Department. Rarely, I haven't seen a check come, but every once in a blue moon. The sad thing about that is the check is cut, and then it goes to one attorney and another attorney, so by the time we get our check, we don't get anything because from each attorney looking at it. So,
Yeah.
The only thing I was checking is if we do terminate and transfer the accounts to make sure that we're not somehow double paying a collection fee that started with them and they're entitled to some kind of fee if the county later collects, and then for sure we're getting next to nothing.
Right.
Karen, are any of these on this list that you provided to us, I don't know what the right word is, active in their payment process, or are they pretty well,
I don't follow that.
oh, okay, all right.
I think I could ask them for, you know, that, but I don't know if
I don't want a lot of effort, no, I just wondering if somebody was trying to be diligent.
oh, they don't get paid unless they collect, so.
Yeah, all I can say to that is, if I'm reading this right, the second page of the information, there's amount placed, average balance, paid in full, period collections, period, payment period up at the top says January 1, 2020 to July 31, 2020, and there are $2,200 in that column. So that some people, at least some people are paying. I think the people paying are the ones they just received. I mean, the old one back from 2015 is paying something, but the ones that they received in 19, I guess, it looks like they got one in February of 2020, are getting some payments. Which is the, typically that's the experience, right? The older the account, the less likely you're gonna collect, you're gonna do it in the first year or two, usually. Board have a preference? If we do nothing, they just stay with the mayor collect, and we can, there's nothing, I don't think, in the mayor collect contract that says we have to send them anything. We can send them wherever we want, the new ones.
Well, the new ones are gonna go to the county,
Yeah, are going to go to the county, so,
but it's the old ones.
right.
My thought would be to send them to the county, just.
Yeah. Get them all in one place and send them in. huh?
Right.
Right,
Yep.
because sitting here, we could look at this list again next year, and it almost could be a carbon copy.
Sure.
And that's why I asked the question before, if there was anybody that was at least making those numbers.
And I think by your APs, last month's APs, you paid over $600 to them, so on the assumption, they don't get paid unless they collect, so.
Right.
That's the
Right.
first time I've seen a bill from them ever, but we've always had EMS medical billing previously, so.
suggest moving over. I would suggest moving them over to the county, or I don't, moving is the right word, but letting the county collect.
So you want to direct the clerk treasurer, and I suppose if I have to say something, the village president
Give notice.
to give notice to Collect, terminate the contract and move all accounts, whatever the right word is, accounts to,
Outstanding.
outstanding accounts to the Waukesha County Collections.
Mhm.
Was that a motion?
Sure, I make that motion.
Then I'd second that motion.
Beat me.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously by voice vote. Waukesha County Delinquent Account Collection Service Agreement for the Town of Vernon. We talked about that last time. Letter C was to authorize the village president to sign it. I think last meeting, we approved the agreement, and the approval didn't specifically authorize the village president to sign it, so that's all we're looking for.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next up is Wisconsin Department of Revenue TRIP. That's the tax refund intercept program that the Department of Revenue, Wisconsin Department of Revenue has. And again, sorry, lost my train of thought. I was looking at what Macy said. We're just looking to authorize the village president to sign the form.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. E, authorize village president to sign the LifeQuest Business Protocol request. There, it's in your packet. I hope people read the questionnaire, the business protocol questionnaire, and setting aside the fact that I'm surprised they didn't want us to do this last year, December, or earlier this year in January or February at the latest. I'm not so sure all of these things are appropriate for Vernon to do, and so one thing we could do is go through it tonight, or, and get the consensus on what the board would like to do. We could, I suppose, take it up at a finance board meeting that we have on Wednesday, if you don't want to spend the time tonight to do it. Or give the clerk treasurer and the village president some authority and discretion to fill it out.
Yeah, there's some there that you really should not. If I was a board, I would not sign and let them make those calls. I think those are board member calls.
Yeah, and part of the biggest thing for me is, some of them have, well, account balance is below $25. Well, okay, fine. But if there's some reduction or waivers or so on, it's one thing to waive off 25% off a $100 bill, it's another for 1,000, so. And so the question is, what are we gonna, what authority are we gonna grant them, or permission to grant them to settle accounts? That's basically what this is.
Right now, do we really just take each one
Yeah.
individually? If we wanna settle them, we don't really have a,
Well, typically, when it's a taxpayer, I know the president had indicated on one of the bills, both he and I recognized a name that should have been collected by, it should have been invoiced by Vernon, because if we can put it on a tax bill, we've done that previously. So as far as oversight I'm assuming that, I know that was AmeriCollect, so I don't know how that got there, but
Got there from the end of 19,
I think at your finance committee, that you could go through these point by point. At a board meeting, it's a little dry, but from a personal standpoint, if I was a board member, I would grant them the right to, I would not initial that.
No. That's,
some of these things should come back to you or a finance committee or somebody that has the best interest for the village of Vernon. Not saying anything against LifeQuest, but
No, but
they're-
we don't just use a flat 25% or, you know,
Right.
some
Right.
such number.
It's
Really
giving them-
based on an
giving them
individual
carte blanche,
situation.
which has taken away the prerogative of the town, of the village board, rather, that's our
job.
responsibility to take care of that, not them. We need to talk more on this.
So,
What,
Well,
can
we
we
could-
just move it to the,
yeah, we could table it to our, you know,
Yeah.
one of our Wednesday
Finance.
workshops, so we can put it on the agenda for action if we have time at the end.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it eventually, in the next week or two, I would think.
I mean, you would think if this was so pressing, you think they would have given it to you in December
Yes,
of
Right,
2000?
right.
Last,
Yeah.
last year.
I mean, all of a sudden now it's a pressing issue
It is, excuse me, Karen, it is a pressing issue
for
now.
them, but
Not
you
for
would think
us.
any business, if this was from a practical business standpoint, if this was an important document, that should have been given to you right with the contract.
right.
So I just, that's just my opinion. I think you should, as a group, put a little bit of, not that you don't, just a little together talk on, I think this should come back, I think this could be handled this way.
Mhm.
Just some directive on what your wishes would be.
So should we motion to table it,
So
for
move.
future,
Motion to move,
23rd?
for the 23rd, yeah, we can table it to the, 23rd, September 23rd.
Right.
Is there a second?
second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So that. Letter F, rescind motion on September 30, 2020 for electrostatic professional sprayer. Trustee Wildy, this was, Trustee Wildy, I remember you brought this
Right.
to the attention. We passed a very good motion, I think, when we checked. I let the clerk treasurer explain that it wasn't available or something here.
Yeah, it's not available till after the election, and I need this by October. And the motion was to Sanacare in the amount of $787.67.
Okay,
And when I did look on Amazon, the people were really nice where the fire department got it, but when they said November, it's like, and it was very nice that the chief offered, but in all honesty, the DPW department guys, they're not gonna stay after 3:30 and disinfect, or after, I'm open till 5 o'clock.
right.
If you have a DPW guy, you have a minimum of 2 hours of overtime.
this is being done at or a parish that I'm a part of, and it takes minutes, okay? And basically, you've got a large wand, you walk, it sprays it up, and then it settles down behind the person who's walking, and all public areas, or all areas that have been open to the public, are sprayed in minutes. So it's not,
Okay,
It's not a big,
it's
yeah,
not a big,
and last meeting, we agreed to buy it.
Yeah,
I think
Right.
well,
it'd be helpful to have one here, helpful to have one in the
It's-
fire department. In a pinch, sure. I mean, the
Karen,
fire
you-
department will come over with it, or we'll do.
yeah,
John can have one of his guys drive and get it and return it, but there's a
We
2-week
need to have
period
one
from,
here.
it's not just the election. I think you're gonna,
it's after our meetings.
I think you're gonna do it
Oh, but
during the
disinfect your-
in-person,
Just
Yeah.
even in the restrooms.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
there's a lot of disinfecting that we just don't have time to do.
mhm.
Okay, I'll make the motion to rescind my, motion to buy from Sanacare the sprayer.
okay, we'll do the rescission. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion on the all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now,
Now, we should make another motion to
Motion.
authorize the clerk to buy one wherever she can get her hands on one. But limit, are they generally all about the same price, Karen?
I think I could get it cheaper.
Oh,
The same
You can't
model?
you can't get that same model.
But something in it.
the same-
Zane,
some comparable product, how about that?
yeah,
Motion to buy a comparable product along, and kind of what we missed before, along with the tabs too.
yeah,
We gotta buy the tabs,
Yeah.
might as well put that in your motion,
Comparable product and.
tabs.
okay. That's,
Yeah.
that's the motion that is making.
Do we want to put in not to exceed, or?
Yeah, you wanna put
Not to exceed,
$4,000?
Karen?
how about $1,000?
Automatic sprinkler.
What do you think, 800, 1,000?
Put in the piping and just spray it every once in a while.
Not to exceed 800?
$800, okay, that would be a good figure.
Yeah.
You should be able
I
to
would-
take care of it. for
I'd
that kind
second
of
that.
money.
There's a second. Is that enough to
Yes.
go
Okay,
for? Okay.
good.
Any discussion, Gary?
No.
Jim? No, no? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, when I was coughing, I was gonna say, it's really in-person voting, and October, you need it before November 3rd, you really need it mid-October. Right. Okay, now we've got, oh, Metro Sound, I'm out of order. My pack,
H.
I got my paperwork out of order, sorry. We are on approval of new furnace and AC unit for Village Hall. John's not here, too bad.
Yeah, he could not make it, but he did put two proposals, both he's real pleased with. He just would like the board to make a decision on who they feel is the better choice. And here again, too, the only bad thing is we have to get this done,
Soon.
yes, to qualify for the grant.
Oh, is this, you've answered,
I'm gonna code that to the COVID grant.
okay.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna try to upgrade our air filtration and air purification
And turn it on.
and actually run it.
That'd be helpful.
And one proposal, I wish John was here, did have some questions,
Who are the vendors, Carl?
for me.
Who are the vendors?
The vendors are Donovan and Jorgensen is one, and the other is Tri-Town Heating and Air Conditioning.
Yeah.
One of the questions I was gonna say is I just bought a system from, Roselli and Jorgensen, or Sorensen. I was wondering if they were part of it. I thought they had the best product, best price, but that's residential.
Yeah, I would have
not
said the same
commercial,
thing
so I
about both, personally.
Yeah, so that was one question I had was, okay, there's two. Was there more, or did people didn't wanna bid on it, or?
I know John called, several vendors to get them out here. The problem is everybody's so busy, and he was asking for something that a lot of businesses are looking for, is that cleaning exchange,
Right.
in regards to any type of disease.
Karen, in talking to John, did he have any preference as to either of these two?
His
bids?
preference was the Tri-Town,
Yeah,
but he was happy with both vendors. He just wanted the board to, he said he was pleased with both. He'd be happy to go with either or, but deferred it to the village board.
Yeah, the Tri-Town was
If
significantly
take
cheaper.
Tri-Town, you can take $400 off if you do both units at the same time, the furnace and the air conditioning. They've got a little scribbling in here, may deduct $400 if all units are done together.
And they would be.
And they would be, why wouldn't, it'd be crazy
Yeah,
not to do
yeah.
it.
Well, maybe some people would just wanna do, because of the price, wanna do half.
Oh, one or the other.
Yeah,
What was the chief's comment about their furnace over at Station
Yeah.
One? Wasn't he talking about that needing to be replaced?
That's not on the agenda, but I did
Oh, that's-
email, and I'll get you some more information by your next finance meeting.
On the 23rd.
Because,
Theirs would be substantially higher than this,
Yes,
but it still should be looked at.
right.
this one,
but we might be able to get a deal on doing, a twofer, that type of thing.
That's something John could call on.
Check, sure.
Tri-County is,
Lennox.
they both, well, it includes the air purification system too, that would be included.
They both have that module,
Right.
Gary.
Do they?
Mhm.
I'm just looking here.
Our current vendor is not able to do that.
That's Bolt?
Yeah,
I was wondering why there wasn't a proposal from them.
yeah. There was like several local, just so the board members know, there were several local vendors that John did contact, but they weren't able to add the component of the additional air purification.
All right. That's why they're not here
I
then.
have that in my house. So why
Yeah.
couldn't they do it here?
I don't know if it's different from residential or commercial. I would imagine it would be. I feel bad for the garage guys. They don't have any air purification.
Say again, the last part, Karen?
I feel sorry for the DPW guys because their air is pretty,
Oh, okay.
Should we act on this tonight, Carl, do you think, or should we
Or
wait
should we-
and to
well-
talk to John, or?
I think the thing that was points taken here in our discussion so far is to double check on the fire department and see what that cost would be, okay? And,
Yeah,
Pardon me?
that's
Well-
what, that's,
John put it on the agenda.
Yeah, if we do, if we want to get additional information, I'm not opposed to that, although I would like
Oh, no,
the
I'm happy with it.
23rd to have a decision, on the 23rd at our joint finance and town board or
Mhm.
really the board meeting, because that'd give us several days, and people that extra questions, I mean, the air filtration system on Tri-County says leave existing, and then in the miscellaneous, it talks about putting in the, so, I don't know what that means.
could be here.
And then John can be here and answer, and answer questions, but I think, to me, as long as we're doing this, we need to improve the air circulation in here,
mhm.
and get the HIPAA or the MERV 13, I heard is the one, the filter you need to run
Right.
is a MERV 13 or better, and
Table by consensus?
table by, or make a motion to table for, and,
Before that,
okay,
I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm asking about here. We're talking about the town hall, and there's certain economies of scale. If the fire department has to replace their unit, would there be economies of scale where that would be a benefit to us?
That was the only reason why I mentioned it. That was
Oh, did you hear
exactly
it?
what I was thinking.
Oh, you said it? I didn't miss.
Yeah.
Okay,
But, again, the fire department isn't on the agenda,
no?
you know, their
no.
furnace. I'd like to hold off until,
23rd,
yeah, 23rd won't hurt us that much.
Right, and I can make some calls and some emails to the grant authorities,
Yeah,
because you'd want to make sure.
right.
don't
Yeah,
forget the
we
two
want to
that
make
we
sure,
have.
I made sure on this one.
yeah, the qualified,
This one I know qualifies.
right.
okay.
But you're talking about
This, whatever we do here.
here,
I just want to make sure before we
Oh,
spend.
Understood, yeah.
So we don't go past our time.
Because that'll be a lot more intense.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. That's a bigger building.
Yeah,
Well, we did talk about at that meeting to have at least an inspection
right.
done over there, so.
Well, I had something interesting to ask, but now it's gone.
Okay,
It's getting
Well,
old.
that happens, Jim, don't worry.
Table by consensus?
are we
Yeah.
tabling by
Yes.
consensus
Yes.
for further
23rd.
information? We'll get it on the agenda for the 23rd.
I'll ask John to be there too, that way.
Yeah, it's during the day, you can come
Right.
in.
Is everybody in agreement on which one of the two that we would go with at this point, or?
Maybe John too could add some more information, and I think there's 2 more phone calls he needs to make in regards, because there's quite a bit of discrepancy between the two, I
Oh,
think.
yeah, that's not, yeah,
So
okay.
there's 2 things I would ask him to look into, and if there's any other questions you might have that John could look,
Yeah.
call them before you meet, please let John know. Because when there's that big of a difference,
Yeah,
Right.
that's $5,000.
You wonder if we're getting the same,
right,
Yes?
are we
Apples to
comparing A to A, or are we comparing A to B? you know,
right, just to be sure.
When there's that big of,
Yeah,
right, okay. Okay, we'll put that on the 23rd. And then moving right along here, authorize village president to sign Metro Sound proposal. This was, we passed this, we also approved a deposit check, and
That went.
all we need to do is authorize the village president to sign the proposal. So,
I'll make that motion.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
This has to do with this one and the next invoice, okay?
The triple R, the,
Yes.
okay,
And it's not, I don't want to specifically talk about that. All I want to do is talk about dollars. With the two of these, we're looking at a significant dollar amount. We've gone through the becoming a village and those related expenses. What is our budget status?
This
Okay,
is a COVID expense.
it's a COVID, which one?
These are both.
Both are COVID?
These would be covered by, and we have ample money. We have ample money to cover, otherwise I would have never brought them to you.
Thank you.
These are both 100% COVID.
Thank you. You've
Because it's
answered.
not in the budget. You said the magic word. It is
Thank you.
not in the budget.
neither one of these are in the budget.
Yeah,
the
no,
only-
that-
Neither is the furnace, actually, in the air conditioner.
No, it is not. And the other thing,
That was a interesting question.
board members, the only other thing is John Henneberry also asked if the board would kindly put a laptop in for him also, because in his capacity of DPW director, he does a lot of Zoom meetings also.
Yeah.
We could give him 6 of those real small.
He doesn't want one, he's got one.
I would have thought he got one.
Paperweight.
There you go.
My briefcase was lighter coming here tonight because I left it at home.
So that was the only thing that's not on this bid, but it would be adding an additional $1,763.99.
I'm sorry,
If-
Karen, 1,000,
1,763.99.
thank you.
Did you add that up for her?
I could, but let's. now
Yeah,
there's-
talk about it first.
You're right, there's, okay, so where are we? Oh.
I'm
we
just
have-
talking
we're
about
going
the
back.
processors, to get rid of your little tablets,
Right,
so
we're-
you'll have little,
Well,
right, so we have. an
should we
actual
do the
computer.
Metrosound? I
We
kind
have
of
a,
jumped,
let me think now, we have a motion to authorize the village president to sign the proposal
oh, I'm
Right.
sorry.
for, the boardroom DPW garage AV system, you know, the overflow into the DPW. So let's take a vote on that, unless there's further discussion, then we'll get to the next point, the next item, which is the laptops. Any further discussion on the motion, on the floor?
Yeah, question. Do we have any kind of cover or protective thing for the screen in the garage?
You mean for the TV that
Yes,
would go in there?
Yeah, yeah. You know how,
Right, how
Dust.
dusty and dirty and,
yeah,
I'll ask Ron to check into that.
I don't know what.
Because what we think is gonna happen is this is gonna move in there,
Mhm.
and then, like you said, and not only, but the whole thing would need to be covered, because you know how the backs get?
Yeah,
And then you'd get a bigger,
you'd almost need to have like a
Smart
box or something
yeah.
that it would be in, but something that we'd be able to wipe the
Cabinet or
screen off, or the glass or whatever we have in front of it.
and then if you had an overflow, if they're in the garage, at least they're looking at something that, it's, because a lot of communities put a
Right.
little
Well, it's a
teeny-
good idea. It's just Jim is bringing up good points about sanitation. Dust, dirt, grime.
Oh, the soot from the
Humidity.
diesel. That's the killer.
You're right, we need some kind of cabinet or dust cover
Right.
for the DPW. So we'll put that on for John, maybe we'll put that on the 23rd as well, to discuss that, how that's gonna work, because we're on their schedule for November, right? The-
Yes,
This.
Is that?
possibly October, and
will
the
that be
electrical's
good?
all being done,
Will most of that equipment there be gone then, huh?
what's that?
And the AV, equipment?
We'll sell whatever we can, even
But
your
the
laptop, we'll
majority
try
that's
to
gonna be
sell.
gone.
What we do is make an entire list of everything that can be sold and what the vendor thinks the
It's
worth
worth.
is, and bring that to the board before anything's done, because anything that leaves this facility should have the permission of the board to be sold, and how it should be sold, and in what manner it's sold. Some might be so obsolete you can't sell, but at least you should have a qualified person tell you that.
So we vote? We haven't voted yet.
Oh, okay, that's what I was gonna say. We
Motion
didn't-
on the floor.
Motion on the floor, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we've got that one authorized. Okay, now let's go to, there's several proposals in here, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, and maybe we should go through them one by one so we understand what they are. Hoping, Karen, you can take us through them.
Well, the easy one, the 37510 is the Wi-Fi cloud management, and that is to increase the capacity for your Zoom meetings and connectability for Wi-Fi, because if anybody's had to connect to the town's Wi-Fi, it's very, very obsolete. So that's the one for 37510.
What, these other ones gotta be, the one for 12,000, that's gotta be the tablets.
The 347.93 plus 1,007.6399 would be for the laptops for the village board plan commission and the DPW director, because the plan commission would need that also. And the Windows 10 upgrade, you know what, if the board members don't mind, this one I would, if we could hold off on this one, but
This one here.
what I'd ask the board to hold off is on the one for 6,757.86 at, I just wanna go get some more information. But I can tell you that, the 37510, the 5,079.83, and the 12,347.93, and the 1,763.99 are all qualifying factors for COVID. And you know that your little tablets will
Shot.
not, if there's ever time that you are doing, a lot of your
Don't work.
training now is all on webinars and or Zoom or virtual meetings. And these are definitely qualifying for COVID grants.
Okay.
And the pressure on that COVID grant. I mean, on the things that are legitimately able to use funds to use for
Right.
things that we've got.
Well, and a lot of problems for small communities and for large communities, replacing technology. Technology becomes so obsolete so fast. And bringing the capacity of doing meetings and webinars and, who knows what's coming in the future. At least it would bring the board a prerogative that we don't have now.
Karen, should we then hold on the whole approving all of this until you get clarification that you want?
I think they're all ready to go. The only one I'd want to talk to Ron one more time about is the one for 6,757.86.
Right. So should we wait to approve all those or just approve 3 of the 4?
You could approve the 3,
Okay. I have no problem doing that.
and if there's any question, I would obviously bring it back, because all I can tell you is I told Ron what the board needs to do in conjunction with Metro Sound and what you currently have and you can't do, and this is what his recommendation would be.
Then I'd like to make a motion to approve the 3 invoices, 12,347.93, 375.10, and 5,079.83.
And then Supervisor Mahalik, would you also include another processor for the DPW director in the amount of
Yes.
$1,763.99?
Yes. I should have included that, sorry.
Is there a second? Second. I'll second it, at least for discussion, see if there's any. The only comments I would make that I made was, one was cover of the COVID grant, which was answered, and whether this was maybe a little, is this what we needed? Or is it overkill, a little bit too much computer for us, that maybe we go a little cheaper, but, it is being recommended by our IT consultant. And then the third thing is there any thought about bidding this out? I don't know if these prices are good or bad, or,
Well, he
That
seemed
would
to
be
be
the only
pretty
thing.
reasonable in regard to,
The other
I don't
thing
know enough
too,
about
Mr.
it.
President, is you could actually bring Ron into one of your finance meetings, because he is the IT guru.
right, he is our consultant.
Right. And he has been very reasonable, sorry. I hope this doesn't sound like a conflict of interest, but I happen to use him for our computer things. And he is very reasonable and, better than yet, competitive insofar as what his pricing is. for me. And he's also, in my opinion, very honest and forthright. And the only thing we're in discussion right now?
Yeah, we're in discussion.
Okay, Karen, could you also ask him, as a part, when you come back, what it would cost to do something for a bonnet, okay, to keep the dust
Oh,
and things out, to include that when he comes back, so he can knock that off right away? That's an excellent point.
Carl, or if you want to have this motion die and bring Ron to a finance meeting.
Could bring Ron to a finance meeting if you got further questions.
Your next finance
It's hard to
meeting
get a second out, so I just want to make sure
is a little lighter as far as the rec department, and although
we
you have,
should have more time.
right. And maybe Ron could meet it and come in, because to be perfectly honest, he's the IT guru. He can explain,
Yeah.
and you could ask him, if there is something cheaper, what's the effect of having a cheaper, model, and what are the advantages and disadvantages?
Life expectancy, all sorts of things.
Because those little tiny ones that you hate were over $600 a piece,
Yep.
Right.
and that was 5 years ago.
And they weren't worth $50.
Well, they served the purpose at the time, but.
Yeah, at the time.
But basically, they're. way
Technology
outdated.
moves so quick.
So what's the, we can let this die, or we can just vote it down and direct the clerk treasurer to invite Ron for a meeting. We can put him on the 23rd, or,
Good idea.
Or the 30th.
or the 30th. The 23rd is getting too
As
full.
long as
We
we-
may have another board matter to discuss on the 23rd.
Well, if you don't go past our expiration time for getting the grant.
Right.
Karen, what is the date on the grant? Is there any? I'm
Well,
not
I
trying to
just-
put you on the spot, I
think it's November 1st.
Oh,
okay, so we got 60 days-ish.
Do we have to have it
45.
installed or just under
I'd like
contract?
to double check, because I just did a $16,000 submittal Wednesday night. That was the deadline for the last one. The first one was 12,000, this last one was 16,000.
wow.
Okay, so
We can go
November
up to
1st-ish.
126,000.
Yeah, 126
Is what
That's
we
we're
have.
authorized?
Yeah, that's what we have to,
to work with.
and the only thing I will do also is I'm going to ask other communities if they'd like to donate their portion, because there's a click on if somebody clicks when you're doing the grant that you want to donate your amount, it goes back to
Oh,
the state. But another community can grant us, if they're not, there's some communities that haven't
They
even
can
applied.
transfer.
Yeah,
Yeah, in fact, transfer, right.
if they're not gonna use all their money,
Wow,
they can will it to us.
oh, that's nice.
Well, can we see if Ron has time? Otherwise,
Right,
I hate to schedule more meetings as long as we're meeting
Yeah,
on.
right.
well, I don't think this will,
I
I don't
agree.
think
don't wanna
this, I
expire
don't think
either.
this will take long.
No, I don't think so either.
Either the 23rd or 30th, or you have a couple things on the 23rd, but, or we can do the 30th. Because the 22nd, you're busy working. And you're not all here on the 22nd.
No.
Right. Some of us are.
Yeah, but you all
Plan
wanna
Commission
do
is
this.
working on this is Tuesday, the 22nd. Plan Commission is working on the zoning conditional uses on the 22nd in the afternoon at 1 o'clock. Board members are invited, of course, to listen in. And then Jim and I have a meeting on the
23rd.
20th.
I will say, I just did some personal computer investigation, because I bought one today. And, the core processor, the i5 and the i7 that he comments on here is like the top fastest computing system.
Right.
And the solid state hard drive is way better than your standard hard drive, so it's good stuff he's given us.
I've gotta buy a laptop, would you recommend, did you buy a Hewlett Packard or a?
Hewlett Packard.
That's what was recommended to me, to buy, and get away from my PC, and buy a laptop.
I went back to a hard to it.
And he needs to explain too, when you're doing a Zoom meeting, you can't have a low grade.
Right,
No.
or bad internet or
Yeah,
bad
you're like-
Wi-Fi. Right.
Yeah. This is like for multitasking
Right.
what he's offering us.
Okay, good.
Well, that was to my point, is this overkill, is it, is it too much computer for what we need it for? But that'd be a question
It's
for Ron.
definitely not low end.
Okay, I didn't think it was. So we should, we can let the motion die, or we can just vote
Yeah.
it down? Should we just let it vote it? Why don't we just have a vote? All in favor? All opposed?
Yeah,
Aye.
Motion fails. And we'll,
talk to Ron.
yeah, make
This is-
a motion to, or make a,
Invite Ron,
invite Ron, consensus to invite Ron, hopefully on the 23rd or the 30th.
right.
Whichever one he's available for.
Right. Remember, we had a meeting with Ron earlier this month, but he had a medical issue, couldn't make it. So.
Question on Robert's rules. I'm
Yeah.
not arguing what we just did. But if I made a motion on something and it's been seconded, we discuss it, can I vote against it? Even though I made the
Sure you
motion?
can.
Okay, thank you. That's all I needed.
It'll
Thank you.
raise eyebrows from somebody that's paying attention,
Yeah,
but yes,
Well, I just wanted to be sure that wasn't, that I should have abstained or whatever.
I've done that before.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Parking lot lighting
Yeah.
equipment.
As you know, the entire presidential election is going to be here. And as you can see in the evening, where people park here and people park here, there's absolutely no lighting. So I wanted to rent 2 units, one for here and one for over here, so that there was a lit area for people to park. For the election, they're $175 apiece. This too would be a COVID expenditure because I wouldn't have to use this facility if it was for, I would, but people could park in this. But
Yeah.
with the overflow, I need to have, and I just think it's for a safety factor,
Oh,
for
for sure.
$175 apiece,
Yeah,
it's well worth the expenditure. But I didn't want to do it without talking to you.
And you did talk to DPW? see if-
Yes.
If there was a need for maybe permanent lighting?
Right.
And I don't think there, I think John said,
Yes, 'cause that was when the president's referring to is when I talked to John, thinking if we would purchase something that we could use over and over, but something that we would need is something that they wouldn't utilize, so John had suggested too, just renting the diesel, and we'd only rent them for one day. John and the guys would pick them up in the morning, stick them up before they go, and then they go back the next day.
Does that price include pickup, drop off and pickup?
No, that we have to pick them up,
Okay,
How tall?
30 feet,
oh, that's good, yeah.
Okay.
they must be telescopers.
yeah.
Yes.
I was wondering if they could just buy some lights and put them on the roof.
But that wouldn't help us here and it wouldn't help us.
Put them on the roof and play them that way.
I asked John, I know that wouldn't help here, because you can't get over the trees.
Probably not, yeah, right.
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You anticipate using that for parking, Karen?
Oh,
Yeah?
for presidential,
That's what,
Yeah, we're stuck here, as you know,
oh, yeah.
a central one location here,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and,
yeah, where else are we gonna go?
well, our motion, remember, the motion was to maybe use the painters, but that's,
I'm sorry, Carl, say the last part. Use,
use the painters.
Painters.
oh, yeah, right.
But that's not,
So everything is gone.
Roll on that?
yeah.
No, the WEC said no.
Webb
No.
said no.
Okay,
So we're here. The concern is lighting for overflow parking more than anything. Presidential, I know,
Gets dark early,
well, it's November, remember,
yeah.
and,
What about this sidewalk?
What's that?
What about the sidewalk going across,
I think we should get some, like lighting that you could plug in and light that, and then they could reuse that.
mhm.
That I think they should purchase,
right,
because they
light
could,
path lighting.
Right, yes.
Is that what you're thinking?
Because
Yeah.
across here, if they're walking across in the dark,
Right.
somebody's gonna fall.
well, those towers usually have 4 lights on them, and depending on where it's located, Jim, that light, one of the lights could be used to light the west side of the building.
Again, the trees in the
No, it
way.
depends on where this, I said, where
Yeah.
it's located, but that, of the 4 lights, one of them could be directed in this direction.
Just as long as we consider it.
Yeah. That's what that was my first question to John is there any lights that we could purchase? Because it truly is a need for safety, but then they could use it again if they ever had an emergency that they're working at night and they need light. But those type of lights, I don't know if they have a portable generator,
Which,
Oh, yeah,
the DPW guys?
oh,
I think so.
Okay, so you'd be looking for a motion to rent 2 lighting units for the parking lot for the November 3 election.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Only, well, I'll second the motion.
Okay, discussion?
You said 2?
Yes.
Well, then you can't have one right here towards this end if you're trying to light up that whole parking lot.
Well,
That means one's gonna be
Jim?
more towards the center.
have you used those towers?
Yes,
I have 2,
you know,
and they cover easily, quite a distance.
I'm aware, but you'll have to have it towards the middle of the parking lot, have the lights fanned out, and that won't light up this sidewalk that's right outside
It all
here.
depends on location, right?
Yeah, like I said, the center of the parking lot would probably be the location.
Can
And
we,
they're two-
can we have John and you look at the sidewalk lighting
Yes,
to get
yes.
this motion approved, and if we need to
That's an
buy
incidental.
something or an incidental capital improvement,
Right.
maybe it even qualify for COVID, I don't know.
It would have something that's safe but I agree, the sidewalk should be lit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if the big light can't do it, we gotta
Right.
get little lights to do
I
it.
have no problem.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we are on item L, resolution 2020-04, fee schedule. I think all you're doing here, I think, is fixing the both hourly rates in the schedule. It's
Yes.
not that these rates haven't been charged back.
Just the couple dollars they're off.
Yeah, they're just off a little bit, so we just, clerk treasurer asked that it be on the agenda just to clean up those hourly charges. So, is there a motion to approve resolution V, I guess there's a V in front of it, V 2020-04, resolution to establish a fee schedule, establish the schedule of fees for 2020.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Is there any discussion? I think in your handout, it's highlighted what was changed. And even then, it was probably, some of them were correct, but, yeah, it's just the full. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay,
Is this, on the web so the public can see that?
Right, and it can't be changed until after the board approves it. It has to be posted, so they can be changed on Monday.
Okay.
okay. Deadlines, dead phone lines, I should say,
Well,
or
our-
unused phone lines.
Our phone bill went up substantially. Everybody's phone bill supposedly went up substantially from what it was, and when I called AT&T to see what we could do to lower the bill. And I also discovered one of our lines weren't being used, and then when we had an analysis, there were several dead lines and unused lines. And I didn't want to just arbitrarily get rid of them, even though we don't need them and are not using them, but I just wanted to have your permission to get rid of dead or unused lines.
So how many are there? Now, these are, on the attachment, there's numbers, and I think I've received phone calls from many, if not all of these numbers, sometime or the other.
It's hunting. When it hunts to.
Hunt for the open line.
But it doesn't mean it's coming from that line. Because I had AT&T on the line with me checking those, and she had said, geez, we got a whole bunch of numbers. And before we'd actually, I know the chief said there's a phone up there that has never worked. Well, we want to do one last verification before we actually, but I didn't want to even go through the process if you didn't think it was a good idea. Because you can see when we get our phone bill, it's done by line.
Yeah, do we
So
have
if
to
we
pay
get
for
rid
those
of 2 or
deadlines?
3 lines, then we can save some money, is that the idea?
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not gonna break the budget, but it's silly paying for something we're not utilizing.
Yeah, why
Right.
pay for it?
Why pay for it? We ought to be efficient here as we can. So you're gonna make, the motion would be to authorize and direct you to eliminate dead or unused phone lines, or AT&T phone lines, as determined, or do you wanna have authority to do 2 lines, 3 lines, as many as we need,
Well, I'd like somebody else, it's always nice to have somebody else involved and then marking on the actual unit what was done and when. So if there would be an authorization, it'd be for myself and John Henneberry to update all of the town of Vernon, which includes, the village of Vernon, which includes the fire department.
Yeah,
Because when the chief indicated there's a line up there that doesn't work, which is one thing, but he said we don't need it or we don't want it. And I
Yeah.
want to just double check that because I hate to, because once you reconnect something, it's really expensive.
Well, that's right.
So just to be sure, but I didn't want to go through that process if that's not what the board wanted us to do.
So maybe a motion to authorize John Henneberry and our DPW director and clerk treasurer to identify dead and unused AT&T phone lines and disconnect or terminate service. Is that good?
That's good. Is that your motion?
That'll be my motion.
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving right along, we're doing good. Letter N, Joint Planning Committee reports for the Village of Waukesha and the Town of Mukwonago. I put this on here simply because we did, I was not at the meeting, but I watched it via YouTube.
I didn't even know it was televised.
Yeah,
Neither, no.
televised on a worldwide basis. You know.
I don't remember where the monitor.
I have no idea where it
I
was.
have no idea where it was.
It's in the ceiling.
Yeah, it's in the ceiling.
There's a bulb up there?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think you.
And so I thought, because it was up in the Village of Waukesha, in case people missed it, we'd have a short report about what happened. These were the joint planning committees that were set up under our cooperative plans with the Town of Mukwonago and the Town of Waukesha. Now, Village of Waukesha, I think it was an organizational meeting. I watched it on YouTube, but I deferred to I think trustee Mahalik here is part of that committee, as well as Plan Commissioner Dan Nowak.
Nowak.
So that's why I put it on. If you wouldn't mind, give a short
No.
report, or otherwise I'll try to stumble through it based on what I remember hearing.
What do you remember?
You-
It was a cordial and constructive meeting. Everybody was very interested in progressing on what we were planning to do with the joint planning. And the planning will be basically a 1 mile strip on our border and city of Waukesha. And,
The village of what?
Village-
sorry, I apologize. Thank you. Now I'm in trouble. Village of Waukesha. And it would be a half a mile either side of that line, which is the 1 mile. It's the cooperative planning, if something were to come up, density, and we were fortunate to have Sean, our planner there, to go over the overall land and how in each community, how that land is being used and how it interacts or interfaces with each other. And after, there was no heavy discussion, like, oh, we should do this or we should do that. No, that wasn't the case. It was more a get to know each other and then talk about specifics, reference from what Sean said. And at the end of the meeting, it was moved that we should have our next meeting either at the call or at least 1 year into the future, which would be May or June of '21. That's a synopsis of the meeting.
Yeah,
Did I
thank
miss
you.
anything?
Yeah, I think that's right. Sean did give a presentation, like you said, that I thought was very helpful. It was hard to follow because you were seeing it up on a screen and
Right.
that wasn't coming over, but he went through how Vernon was master planned in that half mile on our side of town line,
Right,
how the Village of Waukesha was master planned on their side of town line for half a mile, like you said, so it's a mile total off north and south of Town Line Road. And I think it was asked, were there any conflicts that needed to be addressed right away, and he didn't identify
there were
any
none.
major conflicts. I mean, the conflicts, well, this residential 3 acres, this is residential acre and a half, type of thing. So,
Right, and then there was a question asked about Vernon having a president, and Dan Nowak will be the president from Vernon
oh, of the committee? Yeah.
for the committee.
Yeah, okay. And, yeah, you're right, there's gonna be, in your meetings, yeah, I think that's right, you guys did talk about meetings, and if one community or the other or both have changes to their land use plans, that was gonna be
At the
a
call,
point of the meeting, to have a
Right.
meeting to discuss those, on either side, and
right,
obviously, if it's way on the south side of Vernon or the north side of, it's out of the area, so there wouldn't be a
Correct.
meeting
No,
for
it's
that.
that-
It's just that little,
it's that mile, half
It's that-
either
yeah.
side, half a mile on each side.
otherwise you meet annually.
Say again?
Otherwise you meet annually, it sounds like.
That's right, and right now, it's just general target May, June, but at the call, in the event that something were to come up.
Right. Okay, thank you. That's all I really wanted to let everyone know, that meeting had happened, and it was a good meeting. In closed session, there's shared services also discussed at that meeting. In closed session, we'll pick that up in the event that we need to negotiate it or talk about any strategy, and we'll get a report. We can come out of closed session and have a public report on the shared services if board members feel that's appropriate at this time. So that's at the other end of the closed session, the shared services part. But there's not, like you reported, nothing on the joint planning, so there's no need, we're not talking about that in closed session, and
And there was nothing,
report's a report.
in talking to the respective communities, there was nothing that was in the mill, so to speak,
Right.
that was being planned, that was necessary to talk about.
Okay, moving along, then we're at correspondence, announcements, and reports. First up, Village Board, Trustee Swanee, you want to start us off if you have a report? Not on the agenda, or just a general report about anything?
I really don't have anything, aside from the shared services information that we'll be putting out later on.
Okay, Trustee Wildy?
Yeah, we did attend that shared services committee, and I think it was a very good opportunity to satisfy any questions that people might have, that this, what we did in incorporation our borders, that we did this, that was just something that we just did. No, this was something that we did plan to do with the shared services and planning to make sure that we adhere to the agreement that we did put forth for incorporation. So I was glad to see that taken care of. One thing I wanted to talk with, I forgot to mention to Karen, the sign at the fire station is unreadable, Karen. Can you, all the word, huh?
I just picked it up yesterday. yesterday.
Oh, did you notice that all the words, what happened, did it all get washed off?
It was done in red and blue ink, which is
Yeah.
the worst, and now it's black and purple.
Okay, well, you're ahead of the game then, cause I went by there and it was still there the other,
In fact, I could bring it out, I put it in my Tahoe.
Oh,
Maybe I get all the
boy,
way,
no, you're way ahead of, okay, that's all I had.
Trustee Mahalik.
I'd like to compliment trustee Wildy on his observance.
Day late, the
I
dog
already
is
gave a
short.
report on the joint planning. The only thing that I would throw to the board is Halloween
Oh,
coming
yeah.
up, okay, and I don't know, I have not seen anything, I've watched,
What's trick or treating?
Yeah.
Trick or treat?
well, and I don't know if there's gonna be, okay?
by
so-
resolution, there's a standing resolution by the town board that trick or treat is always the Sunday before
Well, we're
trick or
going
treat
ahead.
from 1 to 3.
Oh,
Going ahead.
Right, that's not the problem, the question is there gonna be one in the county, okay?
Yeah,
County,
No, in the overall Waukesha County, are they gonna restrict it
Because of COVID.
because of COVID?
yeah.
Is that gonna be something that they're gonna put a kibosh on? I hope not, but
I did have some,
I just thought I'd bring that up for
yeah.
future reference. That's all I have, thank you.
Right, not on the agenda, obviously, but we can if we have to. Otherwise, we'll just have the standing resolution there, and we can put it on an October agenda.
Right,
I mean, we'll have 2 meetings in October. We got a meeting October 1 and 15, so.
I just wanted to get it out there early.
Yep.
Yep. Good talk.
Trustee Dashek.
I had a resident ask, or showing interest in being a poll worker, and I said I would check with the clerk to find out if she's still looking for people. Is that
You want me
a
to talk about
yes or not?
Well,
No.
What?
You're not looking for poll workers?
we've scheduled them
Okay,
a while ago, yep.
and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. President's report, I do note, and we'll send it over to the clerk treasurer next. Absentee ballots in the mail, and I got mine.
I got
Yeah,
it.
I
I
got-
received mine today.
Got mine yesterday.
So, kudos to the clerk's office and also US Postal Service to actually get them delivered in 3 days.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. That's all I had, and and I'd like to also thank the trustees, part of these joint planning committees and shared services committees. It's under these cooperative plans, it's important. I'm glad those meetings are proceeding, and sounds like progress is, hopefully will be made, so.
Well, if I could add, progress is set up to be made when and if it's needed,
Right.
okay?
Okay, clerk treasurer report?
Yes, I had several election inspectors here on Tuesday morning for the absentee ballots. We did 1,625. I got them to the post office at 2:30 on Tuesday afternoon, and we've already received 15 back today. 15 have already been turned in, voted and turned in, which I thought was phenomenal. And for the many people that wished we could go back to waste management, your wishes are coming true. The ink is almost dry on the merger between Advanced and Waste Management and GFC, GLF, or whatever, the Canadian portion of it that's making it a non-monopoly. So just wanted to announce that for people that love waste management, they'll be back in one way or another in Vernon next, well,
Unless we're
Soon.
divested off.
I don't think
That's
it's,
not gonna happen, huh?
no, it's at the DOJ. They're
okay.
just, they just gave the blessing, and
Oh,
like I said, the ink isn't totally dry, but it's just about there. So that's
Sure.
all I have.
When will that occur? Is there a date or?
I
targeted
haven't,
date?
I don't have the date, but it's going to be soon. I'm sure Annalise from the Waukesha County Recycling, as soon as she gets word of it, because they're following it real closely, because so many communities work with Advanced. So they just want to make sure with the MRF stations, and they gave a little warning if people are getting calls from one of the vendors and that, to hold off, just, because one's really excited. And it's not Waste Management or Advanced. I mean, they're excited, but that's not the one that are calling. But I'll send you that email, and that's all I have.
okay, thank you. On to.
Karen, can I follow up? I got my absentee ballot, and I think this, I might know the answer to this, but it's got postage on it. If I dropped it off here at the town hall, that's not postage saved, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
And by law, if someone tells us, like, I know, Mr. Fortner and his family told us not to put postage. I didn't put it on my husband's, I didn't put it on trustee Wild. These people that have said, don't put it on, I don't, there's
So
residents.
I could do that, okay.
Yes, if I have something in writing, but we can't, I used to give, I can't do that, they have to be tracked through the mail. But if you tell me not to put postage on it, we don't, and then we love when you drop it off, because it sounds petty, but every
No.
50 cents adds
Well,
up.
that's my point. I saw it, I thought, oh, shoot.
Right.
Okay, on to finances. Accounts payable, September 17th, 2020. If I could just ask the clerk treasurer to, there's 2 life refunds cycling back into LifeQuest. Could you just, since LifeQuest is new, and
Great.
could you just go through the procedure that we're under with
Right.
LifeQuest for refunds?
This is the same as it was for EMS medical billing. Whenever there's a duplication of payment, whether it's through the resident and/or insurance company, which each of these are, one is refund to a double payment from the insurance company and/or the resident. It's, LifeQuest asks us to make out a check to that person because they're not gonna pay it twice. And it's sent to LifeQuest so they can do their accounting of the process of the refund. So you see that, that's in your monthly report, which are all on the secured website for board members, the whole detailed monthly report. But those are requests from LifeQuest to refund those particular amounts. And just the same as you had with EMS medical billing, there was always refunds. But they put in writing to who it's for, why it's there, and what the refund's for. And then once again, I have the staff mail those checks to LifeQuest so that they can track from their accounting standpoint.
Any other questions on APs? Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion for batch 2020-0914 in the amount of 57,873.94.
Having reviewed these at home, I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Karen, no questions this time.
I know, yay!
For me. I was
Annual
happy.
checks.
There are none, sir?
There are none. August 2020 ACH. And they are in the amount of 104,986.88. Is that right?
Yes.
I think that's right. Is there a motion to approve? I'll make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next 2 items, D and E, September accounts receivable aging report and August financial statement. They're here for information, and if you've got questions, you can raise them.
No motion is required.
All right,
I just want to give the board members a heads up, on your August financial, I have not gotten feedback from the department head, so before we import those numbers into your budget for actual numbers, just want to make sure that before I post those in your budget, that there's no changes. There are going to be a few more COVID changes in regards to payroll and some on, I just want to double check any invoice that I can code back to, but you will see a couple changes there also. So, but at least you have a good perspective of where we are right now.
Questions? We'll move on to village board minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of September 3rd. 2020 at September 3rd, 2020.
With the changes to the roll call vote on charter, the charter ordinance, that was a unanimous roll call vote on,
Was,
the changes I put before you tonight.
okay, so this, I took those changes to mean that they were a modification to the original minutes.
Right, they were, and the only thing I wanted to add is on the first charter ordinance, it was by roll call vote and it was unanimous.
Okay.
So I did change the minutes to indicate that the charter, the main charter ordinance was done by roll call and that was unanimous. And the second one was done by roll call also, and it was a 3-2 vote. And then I put Santa Care in on Gary's motion, the name of the vendor, because Gary did mention Santa Care. So I did add that.
So the minutes as corrected,
Yes.
as set forth? Okay. I'll second that motion
All
then.
right. Just for clarification for me, Karen, I
Yes, sir.
took we got minutes, a copy of the minutes earlier, days earlier, and then I see this yellow in here, and I thought that was only put in to highlight where things were corrected.
Yes, President Fortner had asked me to make some changes before the meeting.
Okay, and that's fine, that's
Yep.
fine. So that's why I did not,
Right,
in my motion, I did not talk about them.
absolutely, and that's why I wanted to clarify, is after the fact, President Fortner had indicated on the charter ordinance, 01 was also, so we just wanted to note for the record
That's
that
fine.
both
No, no.
those were done by roll call vote.
Just that's why I didn't make any mention of them.
Okay.
I forgot, who, I know trustee Mahalik, who seconded?
Oh, you made the motion, I seconded it.
Okay, sorry,
Right.
I'm sorry, sorry.
Further discussion on the minutes as, with the changes set forth tonight.
Does this really say that we did a roll call vote on the first one?
Yes,
I mean, it does on the second one.
I just changed that.
Just change it. You don't have it on. a
Oh,
sheet
I
of
don't
paper?
have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I'm sorry, that's why I wanted to state, because
Okay.
trustee Mahalik did it based on the changes but then Carl said right before the meeting, the first one was roll call also. Oh, no, so I
No,
quick
is
changed
And
that.
that's why I didn't identify them.
Right,
Jim.
I'm sorry.
Jim, that's why I didn't identify them. I took them just, sorry.
Okay, are we clear?
We're
Yes,
clear.
sir.
That was
Both
me.
charters were on roll call. The minutes have changed to reflect it. It was a roll
I
call.
withdraw
Okay,
my
fine.
motion. Should we confuse it more? I withdraw the motion.
Friendly amendment?
Friendly amendment?
Okay. Anything further? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, village meeting dates, I'll read them. Obviously, look at our website and Facebook for most up-to-dates. We've got village board and finance workshops, as mentioned earlier. We've got some items tabled for tonight to September 23rd at 1 o'clock, and also September 30. That one starts at 1:30 because we've got a board meeting the next day, and we have an attorney's call at noon. So that one on the 30th is starts at 1:30.
Now, we had originally, on the 30th,
Yep.
we had scheduled a budget for the DPW budget meeting at 1 o'clock. And I see here you've got it at 1:30 for the planning commission for the 30th. No, I don't have any problem.
I'm looking at it, the green sheet,
Right,
the agenda, it says, Village Board and Finance Workshop, September 23rd at 1 PM and September 30 at 1:30.
right, I see that. Oh,
Okay, and then Planning Commission Workshop on zoning, September 22nd at 1 o'clock.
I'm only saying that when we set up the budget meetings, that we had the 16th, 23rd, and 30th, and the 30th was identified as being for the DPW department at 1 o'clock.
Well,
And I don't have a problem with it changing.
I had to change it because of.
I don't have any problem with that.
Right,
It's
and
just-
that's why I announced the change to
Okay.
1:30.
So then when did where does
DPW.
It'd still be,
It'd still be at 1:30 on September 30. Park and Rec is gonna give their budget presentation on September 23rd, plus our tabled items from tonight, and then possibly some more, another board member, matter. And then September 30 will be DPW, And the only reason I moved that back, again, because of this conflict with the phone.
Yeah.
But yes, DPW is still on for September 30.
And then the
Okay.
planning commission is too?
Planning Commission, this is the workshop, remember, for the zoning and conditional use changes. That's on for September 22nd, 1 o'clock, which I think is what everybody agreed to
At the meeting, yeah.
at the meeting, at the Plan Commission meeting.
No vote.
You're invited,
You're invited.
but you don't have to come.
You don't have to come. This workshop meeting is to continue our discussion of the zoning code with regards to conditional uses and perhaps even the subdivision allotment system. We tried to do it at a regular plan commission meeting, but run out of time, and there's no way we're gonna do it in October.
If you bear with me then?
Yep.
The 22nd, September 22nd,
Yep.
what is scheduled at 1 o'clock?
Planning Commission workshop on zoning matters.
Planning commission, okay. And then.
With Sean.
With Sean, right? And then the 30th is still the DPW.
Right, Village Board and Finance Workshop, Budget Workshop is on the 30th. That
Right.
starts at 1:30.
Right,
Okay,
okay,
we good?
yep.
Village Board, October 1 and 15, 7 o'clock. Joint Village Board and Plan Commission, October 14th. We moved ahead the time and changed the location, 6 PM, Big Bend Elementary School. We've got 3 conditional use public hearings.
Well, 2 conditional uses
Or
and then
two-
1
two.
zoning amendment and 2 certified survey maps and 2 accessory buildings, you're gonna be in a
Yes,
boatload of minutes.
so, and then we have our staff meeting, October 15th at 12:30 PM. So that's October. Hopefully, we can take 2 weeks off after that. The people will be coming in here early voting anyway,
Yeah, yes,
from,
the 20th on.
yeah, from the 20th on,
Right.
right, it'll be a busy October. Okay, so, any further clarifications? Trustee, yes. Now, committee meetings are not necessarily on that list.
No, I know,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm questioning is
Okay.
committee, when we're meeting with Big Ben.
We have a committee meeting that will be a joint sharing a committee meeting with the Village of Big Bend, September 22nd, 4 o'clock, which is the date we set when you and I met with
Yeah,
our
except
first
for I set it for the 23rd at 1 o'clock.
Didn't we get confirmation from Village President over in Big Bend,
Right.
the
They
22nd?
asked for, yeah,
So are you good still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Except for on the 22nd,
22nd, we've got our
you're
planning
gonna, you're gonna
commission
live
we have
here.
the zoning one.
at
So
1 o'clock, but by 4 o'clock, I think our plan commission will be,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Then you can fly home.
So I need to move that to 4 o'clock. Okay, fine.
I know, that's why we put them on the agenda for everybody, including the public, trying to keep track of it all.
Yeah.
I like this, by the way, with the dates and times in here for the various meetings. I don't know how long this has been in here this way. If you started it, it's great.
I think it was here before that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's great.
Okay, so those are the upcoming meetings in the next, basically, 30 days. So now we're on to 11, I'll make the announcement, and then make the motion. Motion to go into closed session, consideration and possible action on a motion to convene into executive session under Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.851E, deliberating of negotiating the purchasing of public properties, investing in public funds, conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, more specifically shared services with the villages of Big Bend and Waukesha and Town of Mukwonago, and cooperative plans with the Village of Mukwonago and Town of Waterford and Wisconsin Statutes 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved, more specifically Scenic Ridge of Big Bend Homeowners Association, Included in closed session will be the village board, village attorney, and village clerk treasurer, and the village attorney may participate by telephone. Motion requires a roll call vote. No action will be taken in closed session. We will, in all likelihood, reconvene into open session after we're done to make, as part of an open session, any motions we need to do with regard to shared services, cooperative plans, or the litigation. So, with that, I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And we'll need a roll call vote.
President Carl Fortner,
Yes.
trustee Jim Solani,
Yes.
trustee Gary Weldy,
Yes.
trustee Fred Mahalik,
Yes.
trustee Lorene Dashick.
Yes.
Mr. President, note for the record that all of your board members have voted to go into closed session by unanimous roll call vote.
Okay, thank you, and we will take a short recess. We'll come back at 8:30. How's that?
8:30?
8:30, back into closed session. Thank you.
Can't bring this back up. Do you want me? I mean, I could turn the microphone, but you still can't hear.
We can what now?
If you go in the other room,
Then we can just let it go.
I could, yeah, I'll show you what I can do. And you can talk.
some of these papers that got postponed.
Yeah, keep them.
I threw mine aside, there was just.
That, I kept mine here. It wasn't like,
Could you bring mine and see? Oh, yeah, yes.
I can stay. Stay. All right, so we can come back. Okay, we are returning from executive or closed session to reconvene in open session to discuss and possibly take action on several items on the agenda. Item A is shared services with Village of Big Bend, Village of Waukesha, and Town of Mukwonago. I don't think there was any action that needed to be taken on those items. Everybody's shaking their head no. The cooperative plans with the Village of Mukwonago and the Town of Waterford, for the public's information, there's no new information whatsoever on those in the last 2 weeks, so no action needs to be taken on those items at the present time. Item C is the lawsuit by Scenic Ridge of Big Bend Homeowners Association against the Village of Vernon, and we are allowed to select counsel under our insurance policies, and so that is why it's on the agenda, selection of legal counsel. I would recommend selecting Municipal Law and Litigation Group, which is the law firm that our village attorney, John Macy, is partner in, with the theory that he was at all the meetings and is well informed of the facts, and to get new legal counsel or different legal counsel up to speed. It would take additional time, which would be charged to the village, although we have insurance coverage for a set dollar amount for legal fees. It's not unlimited, and we need to be resourceful and judicious on how those legal fees are spent, because I do not want to exceed that dollar limit if at all possible. So I would make the motion to select Municipal Law and Litigation Group as legal counsel for the Scenic Ridge of Big Bend Homeowners Association, Inc. lawsuit.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Second item under that litigation is the acceptance of service. Typically, we haven't been served with this lawsuit. We know about it. Our insurance company knows about it. It needs to be served. We can either authorize our legal counsel to accept service or not, I suppose. It's just a legal courtesy, if you will, to allow it to happen. Otherwise, they'll come down here eventually and serve it here.
It would be good at giving them more time to get this stack open records. It's this far, it's this big so far.
Yeah,
Oh, geez.
And another one for, yeah.
Oy,
but they do have months to serve plaintiffs, so. I mean, if we just selected Mr. Macy's law firm, but even if any law firm would ask the same question, whether to do it, as a lawyer, it's up to the client, of course, that'd be us. Most clients don't want to bother being served.
I've never gone this far in any litigation, but how is it determined whether our clerk gets it, you get it, or the attorney gets it? How is that word disseminated on where we want the service to be provided?
Never seen it go to, out of all the while I've been here, never has it gone to an attorney.
Yeah,
So it's always come to the clerk?
It goes
typically,
right
it's,
to the insurance
All
company.
right, thank you.
typically it's served to the defendant in the lawsuit, which would be Vernon, and
Right.
that would be at the window
Keeper
out
of the
here
records.
during business hours. I'm surprised
So-
they haven't done it. Yeah,
So help,
frankly.
Karen, what is the protocol? Then it would just come to the window and one of the clerks would receive it,
Yeah,
or
they
you?
date- Yep, date stamp it. As long as they bring it to the clerk's office, that's all.
Oh,
they
then it would be
worry.
date stamping. Okay, thank you.
But the insurance company says that does happen rarely, but it happens where a law firm is served.
Right, but if they try to serve a law firm, they're gonna refuse service unless they're authorized to accept it.
Right.
So Mr. Macy asked us, you know, he just asked, are you gonna allow us to, are you gonna authorize us to accept service? If so, have a motion to authorize us. If not, then don't.
Well, if you get if service goes to the attorneys, they can start to work on it right away then. There's not any lag time or anything, even though Karen would turn it over to them right away, but if they get served, they can start.
He doesn't do the open records request,
Right.
and he doesn't do anything until you authorize him to.
Well, that's what I say, if we authorize service to him,
Right, I don't know that it's a big cost item
no.
to accept it, so it makes no, you know, I'm not a,
Are we talking about something that even needs to be talked about?
no, we just need to either decide one way or the other
Yeah,
I'll make a motion,
to.
have it served here,
have it
I'll
served
second
here.
that.
here.
I'll second it.
So,
With the clerk's office.
with the clerk's office,
Yes,
so,
sir.
okay, so we have a motion made in second, so just as clarification, we are not authorizing service with our lawyers, it basically puts it here.
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All opposed. 4-1 carried.
Did you say 4-1?
Yep, I oppose.
Opposed, okay.
That's it. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Can I make the motion?
Sure. Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.
Good night, everyone. It was a pleasure.